Hello and welcome to this screencast in which we are going to talk about making short sales on margin, and when that happens the following margin requirements are going to come into picture. Number 1, initial margin. Number 2, actual margin. And number 3, maintenance margin. My friends, in case of a short sales, the computation of actual margin is different from how we computed it for when we were making margin purchases. If you remember, in case of margin purchases, we computed the actual margin by first of all subtracting the debit balance from the value of the securities and then dividing it by the debit balance. So our formula there was V minus D over D, where V was the value of the securities, D was the debit balance. In case of a short sales, the actual margin, my friends, is computed by using this formula. In the numerator, what we write is the short sales proceeds, that is the amount of money we raise by short selling a particular security, and to those short sales proceeds we are going to add the amount of initial margin, and from this sum we are going to subtract the value of the loan. Please remember, in case of a short sales, what you borrow as loan are shares or securities. You don't borrow actual dollars. So in the numerator, what we have is short sales proceeds plus initial margin minus the value of the loan, and then you divide this whole thing by the value of the loan. Let us take a small example to demonstrate the procedure. Let us say we short sell 10 shares of ABC company at $50 per share. The initial margin requirement is 40% and a maintenance margin requirement is there, which is equal to 20%. What this means is that before we go ahead with the short sale, we need to earmark 40% of $500 as initial margin for the short sales. From where we got the $500? $500 is this 50 times this 10. If you short sell 10 shares at the rate of $50 per share, you are going to raise $500, and 40% of that amount has to be kept as initial margin. 40% of 500 is going to be $200. So till the time we repay our loan, which is in shares, please remember, the broker is going to hold on to the short sale proceeds of $500 along with the margin money of $200. Let us examine a few scenarios. Let us see what is the actual margin going to be if before settling your loan the price of ABC's stock rises to $52 per share. I have the result here for you, 34.62%. Let me show you how we arrived at this 34.62%. What we are going to do is we are going to start a bracket, and then we are going to write inside the number for short sales proceeds, which we know is $500 because we are short selling 10 shares at the rate of $50 per share. So $500 is our short sales proceed, and to that we are going to add the amount of initial margin which we have figured out, 40% of $500, that is $200. So we are going to write that, and from that we are going to subtract the value of our loan. Now please remember, the loan is in shares, not in dollars. So let us see how many shares we had borrowed. We had borrowed 10 shares from our broker to short sell them, and now the value of these 10 shares at the going price of $52 per share is going to be $520. So we write 520, and then we divide this entire thing by 520, and that is going to give us the actual margin of 34.62%. Now if you observe, this 34.62% actual margin is greater than the maintenance margin requirement of 20%. So there is going to be no margin call. But since the actual margin is less than the initial margin of 40%, what we have is that our account status is going to be restricted, meaning that we cannot withdraw the short sales proceeds from our account. Now if the stock price rises to $60 per shares, my friends, let us see what is going to be our actual margin. We are going to again write $500 for our short sales proceeds, $200 as the initial margin, and then from this we are going to subtract the value of the loan, which is now going to be 10 shares we have borrowed. The going price is $60 per share, so the value of the loan is $600. So we write that and divide this thing by 600 again, and this time it is going to give us 16.67%. and so what you are going to observe is that this time now the actual margin 16.67% has fallen below even the maintenance margin requirement. So therefore the account status is under margined, and we are going to be receiving a margin call. And when you receive that margin call, you can you have a choice to do the following things. Number one, you can add cash or securities to your account, or you can buy back the stock to pay off a part of your short position. Buying back the stock, please remember, is also known as covering your position. If you recall from what happened during margin purchase, and if you received a margin call, in that scenario you had to sell some stock actually to raise some money and pay off a part of your loan. But with short sales, you have to buy back the stock or cover your position to pay off the part of your short position. Now let us move to another scenario, the last one here, when the stock price actually falls to $49 per share. In that case, what is going to be our actual margin? Let us see. We are again going to write $500 for our short sales proceeds. We are going to add the amount of initial margin to it, which is $200, and from this sum of $700 we are going to subtract the value of our loan, which is now 10 shares multiplied by $49 per share, $490, and then we are going to divide this thing by 490, and we are going to get 42.86%. and now clearly this actual margin of 42.86% is even above the initial margin requirement of 40%. So therefore what we have is a situation where our account is unrestricted or over margined, and if we so desire, we can withdraw money from the account. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Bye bye.